Good morning. Our opening words this morning are titled Invitation. Belief is no small matter. To embody hope together is to engage in holy audacity. In defiance of the reality of death, to nurture the seed of life. In defiance of the reality of sickness, to bind up each other's wounds. In response to the reality of evil, to speak truth to power. In response to the reality of risk, to welcome holy strangers. In gratitude for our differences, to be a beloved community. In gratitude for the love we share, to be unified in purpose. In life, in all of life, the whole of its complexities and challenges, heart-rending losses and heart-bursting joys, devastating sorrows and delicious delights, to be fully, wonderfully, cohesively alive. Belief is no small matter. So we who are small congregate, holding space for all our doubts, in spaces consecrated to the largeness of wonder, holding space for all our certainty, and profess the eternal prayer. May it be so. May it ever be so.
We bid you welcome. We do not ask what you believe or expect you to think a certain way, but only that you try to live a kindly, helpful life with the dignity proper to a human being. Welcome all who believe that religion is wider than any sect and deeper than any set of opinions. Welcome all who might find in our friendship strength and encouragement for daily living. My name is Ellen Greenya, and I'm the service leader today. My pronouns are she, her. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us, whether enjoying in person, sliding in on this icy morning, or sliding in via the internet or watching online. Today we are very fortunate to have a guest in our pulpit, Amy GSA Brooks, who, due to the weather, is unable to be with us in person. She lives on the west side of the state, and they got hit a lot harder than we did. I'll tell you more about Amy later in the service. The prayers and readings in today's service were written by Amy. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any visitors today. After the service, we invite you to stay for coffee and conversation downstairs in our reception hall. Joys and sorrows will be shared later in the service. You can come to the microphone, which is over there, or text your name and your joy or sorrow to the phone number listed on page 2 in the order of service. Please take a moment now to silence your phones, but we encourage you to share your presence with us on social media. Do we have any announcements this morning? Yes, we do.
Jim Tedesco for Building and Grounds. We are, is there a switch on?
He's just got to turn it on.
Just got it's on. It's on. It's on. It's a. Hey,
Yeah.
we are giving stuff away. B&G and RE and the minister have weeded stuff out of rooms that stuff that we don't want taking up space here anymore, and we would love if you see anything you like, a menorah or Christmas lights or books or various tchotchkes that we don't need anymore, please take them home. And anything that doesn't get taken will go
And where are these things?
They are in Adams Hall. Last week they were in Marge Brown room, and nobody came to look at them in Marge Brown room. So we moved it all down to Adams Hall. So if you're going down for coffee, you can't miss it. They're all there, and they'll probably be there next week too. Given
and if
the
you
Great.
need help carrying things to your car, we'll help you.
Yes, yes, we will. We have bags and what humans, yeah, and we'll help push you out of your parking spot and everything.
I'm Kurt Thornblade of the Social Justice Committee, and tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. We recommend a march for people, and I can give information about it. Last year, we attended the 21st Annual Martin Luther King Day March, and that was at St. Matthew and St. Joseph's. Thank you. Can you hear me now? St. Matthew, St. Joseph's Episcopal Church on Woodward Avenue. I have some flyers. For people with the smaller children who would like to be on a public communal march, we recommend the one done by the Farmington Farmington Community Library. That's going to be at their 12 Mile Road address. They'll have sign making from 11 to 11:30, and then they'll have a memorial march. The one in Detroit is the same program. There'll be a memorial service. There'll be a memorial march. There'll be a public meal. I learned in researching this that Martin Luther King, in the last year of his life, in May 1966, gave the McNeely Lecture to the Unitarian Universalist Association. His advice was, don't sleep through the revolution. He talked about Rip Van Winkle, which was probably written by a Unitarian in the early 1800s, and that's, I think he might have underestimated his audience a little bit. So I'll be downtown. I hope to see a lot of people there.
Marie Laurie, also social justice. This week it's a very different announcement. Don't come to movie night tonight. Between the weather, the icy roads and parking lot, and there's some sort of sports ball event tonight apparently. I don't think anybody'd be there anyway, so I'm going to reschedule this movie, so please don't show up tonight. Thanks.
Please check the UUCF website or emails for other announcements about upcoming events. Please join me in reciting our UUCF mission statement. It's found in your order of service. We seek answers everywhere, include everyone, live with compassion. Amy GSA Brooks is a cisgender, queer, Australian-born immigrant to the United States who loves a good cup of hot tea and hates mornings. And apparently driving in this weather, but a lot of us do too. She's a minister and the author of Another Scroll, Defiant Readings for Lectionary Year C. Most recently, she has been busy writing her second book. And
for our prayer time today, I want to share.
Not yet, Amy. Hang on. Okay, most recently, she's been busy writing her second book and providing pulpit supply for progressive congregations, both in person and in digital spaces, like today. Amy is deeply familiar with grief and trauma. She finds truth and meaning in the liminal spaces where humanity encounters the divine. She claims kinship with her wife, Lori, as well as their adult children, assorted members of their chosen family, and numerous pets. Here's Amy.
This poem titled Prayer Garden. Settle in to your nests, little sparrows. This is the tree of life. On these branches, happiness blossoms into fruit. There are no joys too small to share. On these branches, there is shelter from the wind. There are no sorrows too deep to share. When the storm has stolen your song, these limbs shake on your behalf. With creaking and groaning, they improvise an organic psalm. Tuck your heads beneath your wings, little birds. These boughs will not break. This is the tree of love. Morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. For our prayer time today,
You see, we don't rehearse these. Please rise as you're willing and able and join us in singing hymn number 360, Here We Have Gathered, from the Gray Hymnal.
All three verses. Yes.
Our reading is called Hope by Amy G.S.A. Brooks. You are in the trenches. You are in the battlefield, in the thick of the fight. You have shells falling around you day and night, kicking up dust and destruction and a kind of death until even noon is overcast with gloom. Of course, you can't find the sun. It's ugly and hard, and it hurts in a way that feels impossible to bear here in the trenches. But you turn your head to the left or to the right. Can you find one of us? Because this is our true mission, to slide down into the trenches with the wounded and be the sun. Will you allow us to love you like that? Maybe it will be enough for now, when the battle is at its thickest, to feel fingers curl around yours and rub your hands until a spark forms, until hope blooms. In the rich darkness of this soil, until you are restored to knowing that you are loved completely, right where you are, right here in the trenches.
leave your cares at the door. Do not leave them there when you come into this place. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. And do not leave your cares at the door. Bring your pain and sorrow and joy. There's a place for them upon the altar of life. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. And do not leave your cares at the door. This is a place of grace, of pleasing and finding a way upon the winding road, feeling and nodding, stumbling and starting over. Every story is sacred here, even yours, even yours. So come on in and do not leave your cares at the door. Do not leave them there when you come into this place. Be open to forgiveness and transformation. Come on in, you are welcome here. Come on in, and do not leave your cares at the door. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And you know, we've learned, if nothing else, over the last 4 years that here is more subjective word than we thought it was. But I'm grateful for the invitation to speak with you, and I'm even more grateful for the technology that makes it possible for me to be here, despite the forces of the universe conspiring against my physical presence in your space. And on the topic of being physically present or otherwise, I'm mindful that there are all number of reasons why someone, whether it is for physical reasons or technological reasons, might not be able to see me as I speak to you right now. So for anyone in that situation, I want to let you know that I'm a short, fat, white, middle-aged, cisgender woman with a butch haircut. I'm recording this in my own home, and I have present with me a number of cats, one you can see before me, who are entirely unbothered by what's going on. But I am happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're here too, because it would be pretty awkward if this video was just playing to an empty room. So I'm glad you're here. And I'm speaking to you today on the topic of how to love a church. And as a poet, just a heads up, I'm going to bring some poetry to this conversation as well. But before we get to how to love a church, it feels important to me that we talk about why we might love a church, why we might love a congregation, a fellowship, a community of like-minded souls like this one. Why, when our comfortable beds and pajamas invite us to stay sleepy and stay asleep, we would choose to get up and gather in this way, whether it is those physically present or those participating virtually. Why we would be here when nature beckons us outdoors to adventure. Why would we continue to love a congregation, a fellowship, a society, a church, when we have witnessed and we are witnessing the death and destruction that can follow when powerful people twist and abuse religious ideologies for personal gain? Well, I feel like the answer to that question of why we would love a church is as varied as the number of people who are present today, and more so. You have your own reason for being here. Maybe you grew up in this community and you can't imagine a weekend where you are not present. Maybe you were just bored today, and that's okay too. Maybe you found in this gathering of people a community who loves and welcomes you, a place where you can bring the big, hard questions of life and really sink your teeth into debate. Maybe those questions and conversations go a little further down than head level, to somewhere around your heart or your stomach, and these are the places where you can really wrestle with the stuff of life that matters to you, and those are all excellent reasons to love a church. And I can't possibly talk on the topic of how to love a church without addressing the fact that among us right now, there are very likely people who in spaces similar to this one, and often coming from altars like the ones present in these spaces, have received deep and abiding and intimately personal harm in the name of religion. And so if we say that despite all of that, we find something of value here, I want to address those people for a moment, if you would. And before I share this poem, let me set it up for you a little bit. Let me invite you to imagine yourself in your favorite thrift store. And you're not just in the thrift store, you're at the very back of the thrift store, and you're hovering near the bargain bin at the back of the thrift store. And you reach way down to the bottom of the bargain bin at the back of the thrift store, and you grasp hold of something, and as you pull it up and you investigate it, you discover that it is something that you had the making of, that you participated in creating, that, you know, if you're a knitter, maybe it's a sweater. If you do woodwork, perhaps it's a shelf. If you do metalwork, it might be a piece of jewelry. Either way, imagine that. Hold that image in your mind. And now imagine that since it left you, it has been not loved in the way that you would have wished, that harm has come to it. And with that image in your mind, I'm going to invite you to listen to this poem I'm going to share. I will give you a heads up that the title of this poem is a slur. It is one that has been used against me, and it's likely it's been used against some of you who are present. This is called Abomination. Who has unraveled you? Who has snipped and ripped at your intricate strands until the very fibers of your being hang like cobwebs across the chasm between the lies you have been told and the truth of who you are? Who slipped loose the yarn? Who has dropped all these stitches? Who undid all my good work? Who hung you out to dry beneath the merciless heat of an oppressive sun until the vibrant brightness and the rich depths of the spectacular spectrum I gave you have faded and grayed into the muted pallor of an overwashed sock? Who stripped out the colors? Who has denied you the promise of my rainbow? Who has soiled you? Who ground into your soul the filthy fallacy that I made you wrong so ruthlessly that you have begun to settle limply into this matted, besmirched state of existing? Who slung the mud? Who wrote your name in dirt? Who infringed upon my trademark? Who has discarded you? Who has removed you from the honored place of display, slipping you farther and further back into the shadowed corners of the closet? Who discounted your worth? Who miscalculated your value? Who diminished my treasure? Who has done this abominable thing to my good and perfect creation? Show Mama who did this to you. I will sort them out. I hope that in this you will have found something that speaks to who you are and who you are coming to be, and affirms you in the fullness of your humanity. And I want to use this poem to remind you, to remind all of us, that at our best, when we gather in these ways, we have the opportunity to be about the making and remaking of each other. That this time that we spend together is never wasted, that there is nothing trivial about these gatherings, that the work that we do together is love and joy filled, and it is life saving. Particularly now. Especially now, when in so many of our communities, our trans siblings are actively under attack. We might choose to love a church because we cannot live in a world where hatred will triumph, and we understand that we need each other to defeat hatred. To quote from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from the Birmingham jail, and I'm going to read it so I don't get it wrong. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And that is true of the harms that this world is so happy to hand out. And do you know what else? It's also true of the healing and love and joy that we can bring to each other and our communities when we meet this way. So those are some of the reasons why we might choose to love a church. And now I might get to the point of talking about how to love a church. The following remarks will take me 45 minutes to an hour. Just kidding. It won't take me long at all, because it is my fervent hope and it's my deeply held wish that you will go from this space and you will think to yourself, I learned absolutely nothing today. Because I am so sure that you already know how to love a church. You show that you love your church in the way you choose to gather together, just participating in this service today. In the sharing of the joys and the sorrows, in the passing of a cup of coffee, in the informal parking lot meetings on your way in and out the door, when you witness to the value of each other, you already know how to love a church. But I don't know, just in case any of you need to be reminded, I'm going to finish now with a final poem, and it is titled, How to Love a Church. Wash your cup after coffee hour. Greet a guest, join the choir, teach the children. Agree to serve on a committee. Bring your talents, bring your energy, bring your enthusiasm, put your money in the plate. Show up for services, show up. Show up not because the doors are open, but because the invitation is open to bring your whole self to the gathering of selves and dare to be challenged, informed, inspires, to be the one who challenges, informs, inspires, to be the presence that only you can bring to the beloved community in the tradition of the spirit of love. And love, do the hard stuff. Stay in the room with the crying baby, with the adult who glares at the crying baby, with that person who gets on your last nerve. Love the whole congregation. Stay in the conversation even when you disagree, especially when you disagree. Stay because you disagree. And leave, because love can mean knowing when to wipe the dust and go, when to say no. And know within yourself when you've been wrong, when being strong feels more like bending, like picking up the threads and mending, like finding new instead of ending, and tending things you find surprising, and find to your surprise that all the ways to love a church are the same as all the ways to love yourself. Greet a guest and show up. Be ready for the glow up. You might even need to grow up. Proclaim your no and sew up, and wash your own damn cup. Amen. For our closing words, Morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here.
Love and loss, joy and sorrow. The perfect heart is one that has been shared. As joys and sorrows of our community are shared, please direct your energy, prayers, and meditations as a gift of compassion and strength. That mic right there.
About a year and a half ago, I shared with this congregation that my daughter Debbie had fallen off of a roof and hurt herself very badly with a fractured pelvis and broken arms. And I also shared with you her recovery as she spent 3 months in a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair, healing that pelvis. And eventually, when she was able to get up on a walker and walk, and then a cane, and then back to work with her truck. And it's kind of hard to run a roofing business, is not get up on a roof once in a while, I guess. But she's managing it now. But after Christmas, this year, she began to feel pain in her belly. And in the last week, she has had a number of tests. And they have told her that she has a cancer growing on the ureter between her kidney and her bladder, and it's causing pain. And that she's had this cancer for a while, as there's a tumor on her kidney and also elsewhere in her belly. And so she must have had this for a long time. It's a very severe thing, but she expects to have a procedure this week that will, when they do a biopsy to determine what exactly is this type of cancer, and also a small procedure to open up that ureter from her kidney to the bladder, so she won't have so much pain.
Three candles for the intentions that rest in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. One for the joys, one for the sorrows, and one for the strength of the gathered community that can support you and bring you peace. For our offering, I'm going to read something by Kristen Collins. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. Please rise as you are willing and able to sing Song of Community, which can be found in your order of service.
What if the benediction were not words tripping from a tired tongue, the murmured mouthing of platitudes, the indication that you are almost allowed to leave? What if the benediction were embodied in the beings on the edges of their seats, anticipating release into the wild? What if you, the people, were the benediction, the I wish you well, the may it be so, the blessing? What if these were not the closing words, but were instead the invitation to opening, to community, to mystery, to love?